everybody. Y'all know what today is. It's Tuesday. So I had to turn that. I don't know. Something was with that ring light. It was too bright for me. But it's Tuesday. So y'all know every Tuesday is at my motivation podcast live. And y'all know what? I'm just able to go live on freaking Instagram. I'm so happy. I don't know what to do. It's been a long uphill battle going live on Instagram because I refuse to sit here with my phone because I can't talk to y'all like I can't interact with y'all. So I really couldn't do that. But as usual, y'all know I got a guest. I ain't gonna talk to y'all for 100 years tonight because y'all know I will when I don't have no guests. A full hour podcast with me talking. But either way, I have a guest, a beautiful lady from Virginia Beach. I ain't gonna tell y'all all her business because y'all don't like to tell people business. I want them to tell their own business, and I'm excited to have her here. I promise you, and I didn't get the opportunity to tell her, but when you book for my podcast, in the invite it says to send a picture and send your handles. Nobody ever does it. This, like, I was so excited when I saw her email this morning. I was like, what? She read the whole thing because nobody ever sends a picture and nobody ever sends their handle. So then I'm kind of like stuck when it's time for me to post because I got to go back and listen to the podcast to see what your handles are if I'm not already following you, or if I'm following you, I still got to go back because I don't directly remember. But I was so proud of her, and I didn't get to tell her because she was the first person in years to book for the podcast, and I did not have to say later on, like, send your pictures, send your handles. She just did it right off bat. So I was excited. And I'm not going to talk no more, so y'all, because y'all know I can talk for real. But I'm going to introduce Miss Dominique Carson.
Hello, hello, hello.
Lady, how you doing?
I'm good. I left my job early because I was like, because usually I stay to 8 at the spa, but I was like, nope, I have to be on the podcast. Y'all need to end me my last appointment by 5:30, so I get in the
Right,
house by 6 o'clock, get freshen up, do what I
right.
need to do.
Do you
So
have a long commute from? Do you have a long commute from your job to
no, 10
home?
minutes. 10 minutes.
Oh, that's a blessing. That's a
That
blessing.
is a blessing. That is a blessing. I don't take that, for granted. But I'm just grateful to be here. Like I heard the introduction. I was like, that made me feel all special and
Yeah,
stuff that I did that.
you
Yeah.
should. You should feel special because I promise you, nobody has not done that in years. Like literally years, nobody's
Wow.
done it. And not that it frustrates me. It's just like I want to give them the fullness of being on the podcast. Like be able to post your picture, be able
Mhm.
to post your handles, especially when it's posted on YouTube, because you never know who is seeing it on YouTube and be able to,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Because my whole thing for
Mhm.
doing this is to exploit people who have businesses, artists, you know what I'm saying? So I'm excited for you and I want you to be excited for you. So,
Thank you.
but definitely tell the people about you, where you from, what you do, what you about to bring to us tonight.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from NYC, so I'm a New York City girl, Brooklyn, New York to be exact. I just moved to the Hampton Roads area. That's what they call Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Williamsburg,
Okay.
Portsmouth, where Missy Elliott is from, is a Hampton Roads area. So I've been
Okay.
down here now 3 years. I am a senior massage practitioner at a med
Okay.
spa in Virginia Beach. I
That's
also
nice.
do house calls on the side. I have two partnerships with Zeal and Soothe. I
Right.
have the opportunity to massage veterans as
Okay.
well. That was something I always wanted to do from last year. So I had the opportunity to do that.
Right.
And I've been a freelance journalist for over a decade. I'm an author of 6 books, as
Right.
including co-authoring a journal,
Okay.
biography, and
Okay.
been collaborating in a number of. I've been in 3 anthologies, and I just did a collaboration book, The Whole Entrepreneur, and revived my other um, hustle when I was in college, public
Right.
speaking. So I did a lot of that in college. So it just revived as an adult. I just had an author all star conference, and I wish I had the magazine in front of me, but
Right.
let me see if I could take a
I was gonna
picture.
say, don't get the magazine so we can see.
All right. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
You can go get the she gonna come right back. But this is what it's about. This is what Zip My Podcast is about. It's for you to show off what you do and who you are, so other people can connect with you and they network and be encouraged because you never know what somebody else know that don't. You know what I'm saying? That you don't know. So I'm gonna let her go get her magazine. And how y'all doing?
All right. So we just had a beautiful conference in
Right,
Atlanta. This is the Author All Stars magazine. This is the second edition. So I was in the first edition. In the second
okay,
edition, 100 plus authors applied, but it was
right.
down to 50. So I was one of the 50 that was selected. And my article is
And
right
bring
here.
it up a little bit closer. There you go. Bring it up closer to the yeah. So because we can't see because you got the fall background. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, that's a big deal right there.
Hmm.
That's
Yep.
a big deal. That's a big
And then we
deal.
have our medal for Author All Stars. This is the
Okay.
medallion that we received along with a certificate. So I've been keeping busy, and then also a part of two more collaboration books for 2024.
Okay. So you said six books. Six
Yes,
books?
6 books. That's including a biography, a
Right.
collaboration book. I co-authored a journal and been in co-authored a journal, was in a journal for the National Woman History Museum in Northern Virginia, and
Right.
I've been featured in 2 anthologies. So that's 6.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Now I'm
Yeah.
gonna just say this because you don't look that like you don't look old. You look very young. You look like probably like in your mid 30s. But
Perfect. Yep. 33.
you know what I'm saying? Like you don't look old, and for you to accomplish all that, that's amazing. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
Like that because it takes a little while to even write a book or even get a book started. It takes a
Hmm.
little while. You know what I'm saying? For you to do six, this must be your love for real. Like this is your
Yes.
love.
6 in 3 years.
6 in 3 years. That
Yes.
is amazing. That is amazing. So where are the books? Like are they on Amazon? Like
Some of them
where is
on Amazon.
okay.
I'm gonna give 2 is on Amazon, and the others are sold independently. One is the journal is in New York, and
Okay.
then the National Women History Museum, they have it on their website, the journal. And
Uh-huh.
then my recent book, The Whole Entrepreneur, it's in my Linktree. So people have the
Okay, it's in your
opportunity to
LinkedIn.
independently.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
So now are you a part of I know like from the 18th to the 21st because I like to read.
And then I give you guys a free gift in the Linktree. 8 things you should do before you. Hmm?
You still there?
I didn't hear the last question. It just went out.
Okay, so I was asking, were
Yes,
you
I'm here.
on
I didn't hear the last question.
okay, are you on the they having the Black Book Fair right now on Amazon. Are you a part of that?
Mhm. No, I'm not a part of that. No.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
wasn't a part of that. But when I released my biography on on Amazon's, it was the number one for Amazon's short reads, hour or less. And my John
Right.
B book was featured in Book Authority.
That's
Top 7 music books to read for 2021. I was in the top two.
that is
I was in the
awesome.
top
Like
two.
that's
Yeah.
really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
What was your first like when did you first decide like I want to write, I want to do journals, I want to you know what I'm saying? Like when did you first decide this?
Um, well, it's been talked about from the time I was 10.
Okay.
7 people told me I was going to write a book by the time I was 30. And
Okay.
my grandmother, God bless her soul, she was the first person. I
Right.
was just a little kid just watching Saturday cartoons, waiting to eat breakfast. And she was cooking. And she said, you're going to write books, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, you're going to write books, right?
Right.
You're going to write several. And I was like, okay, grandma, but I writing was such an intricate part of my life since I was 8 years old. old.
Right.
The first piece of writing I did was a letter to my mother at 8 years old. The
Oh wow.
handwriting was 8, but what I was saying to her was very mature. I was telling her that I understand why you needed to be hard on me since I am the oldest sibling, and that
Right.
I was watching the things that she
Mm.
was doing as a mother. I was saying this to
Wow.
her at 8 years old, and she still
Wow.
has the letter to this day. And that is 26 years ago, like 27 years ago, almost like
Wow.
actually, let
Oh
me
wow.
do my math again. 25 years.
So 25
25
years
years.
ago. Wow.
25
So,
years ago. So that was the first piece of writing. It was
mhm, wow. So you're the oldest sibling of how many?
25 years ago. I began 3.
Three. Okay. Okay.
At
And
3.
so your first writing was to your mom.
Hmm.
And so as you got older, did you do little things like in school and stuff like that? Or did you just decide one day, like, you
Hmm.
know what, I'm about to write a book. I'm about to write a book.
I did, like, when I as I got older, I was writing short stories, I was writing poems.
Right.
I was around a period. And then his daughters, my cousins Iani and Fatima, took it to a whole nother level. My cousin Iani, her words, her imagery, her allegory in poetry was phenomenal. Like, she was my Alice Walker before I learned about her Alice Walker. She was my Gwendolyn Brooks. She was my Angela. And to have
Right.
that in the family was just phenomenal. And then
Right.
I was rapping back in the day. So, rap is basically
Okay.
poetry mixed with a beat. So I was doing that for a little while. I was doing it because one of my cousins was a rapper. And at the
Right.
time, I was a tomboy. So I wanted to do whatever all my male cousins were doing or trying to do. So that
Right.
was,
Right. That was your thing. You was like, I don't care. I don't
yeah,
care what
I
nobody
think the
says.
first,
I don't
I,
care what
I,
nobody say. All of us at one time in our life been a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
all of us been a rapper in our life at one time. A
I
rapper
think
or
I
a
still,
poet.
that's why I think I remember still the first line I wrote. I said, I was looking for the perfect wind, the perfect sky, a perfect vibe, but I realized perfection isn't everything. That was the first
Right,
line that I wrote that I could
right.
remember. And I was an honorable mention in the neighborhood before I was 13. So I
Okay.
was getting honors before I was
Right,
13 because my grandparents, they had the newspapers, they had the letters, it was like you need to enhance your vocabulary and storytelling. And then my mother was a teacher, so I was reading 2 hours in the summer, an hour in the summer, and I made sure that I had extensive speech related services because I
right.
was hearing impaired for the first 4 years of my life.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, okay, so you as a book writer, you're a book writer, but
Hmm.
also beyond that, so it's like you were hearing impaired for a couple of years of your life, but how did
Hmm.
you so just having that imagination, you know what I'm saying, got you to that point to where it's like, okay, I can
Hmm.
do this. That's what's up. That is what's up. I think
Yeah,
it's so
that's why I said I don't. That's why I said I don't remember, because you're an infant, but when you hear
right,
stories of overcoming that, it was like I could overcome anything. And then my mom being a young mother,
right,
and finishing college, and now 29 years with the Department of Education, was like, if my mother could overcome that, then I really ain't got no excuse. And then the fact that I recovered a sense,
right.
I was like, okay, God giving me another slate to
That's
do it right. Yeah.
that's I like that. I like that. I'm still stuck on the 6 books. I think it's amazing that you over like I'm like, who the heck can write 6 books? And just like this is a short little time. You know what I'm saying? But because I'm on book number two, and then I'm on book number two, and then I'm co-writing with somebody right now. We're co-writing a journal. And
So that's number
so,
3. So that's what I had to learn that too, because I
right,
thought anthologies and journals, that's not books. They was like, it's literature, right? That's books. I was like, oh, so I
right.
gotta stop saying 2. I should really be saying 6. I
That
was
yeah, because
like,
I'm
wow.
telling you, like we've been working on this journal like almost a year now, and so we are almost done. But it's two of us doing it, and it's still work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's two, we co-writing it together. But
Mm-hmm.
my first book took me like a year and a half to get it done and get it finished and get it out. The second book is finished. I'm just waiting on it to be proofread and then
Mm-hmm.
get that cover the way that I want it because it's not the way that I want it. But then that'll be, you know what I'm saying? Like that will be
Mm-hmm.
over with too. So I think it's amazing that you have that skill. I'm sorry, I'm fighting this little bug.
Thank you.
That
I
you
mean,
have
it was the pandemic, and I wrote all of that in the pandemic.
now I can believe that because my first book I wrote during the pandemic. Like I just went ahead and did what I needed to do. You know what I'm saying? I think that the pandemic brought a lot out of people, like people who wanted to start businesses or who wanted to be art. It brought that creativeness out of you
Mm-hmm.
that may have been
Mm-hmm.
dormant or lost or whatever the case may be. So now that you have these books, have you thought about going into movies?
I mean, I have somewhat like docu-series. My dream as a journalist is to be a
Okay.
commentator on music
Okay.
platforms because I love music. And I'm such an old head. Like I play old school R&B goodies. I love
Right.
today's R&B, some of today's R&B music, but to
Right.
comment, to be a commentator on those type of platforms like back in the day, VH1 had Behind the Music, you have TV1, stuff like that, to be
Right.
on those music shows and comment,
Right.
that's a
Right.
dream. I would love to do something like that because
That's the thought.
I love music. I have been known to be the sonic music historian in my family. Like I would
Yeah.
bring up old records that family members forgot about.
That
Like we
people
were
don't
at
really
the
think about.
conference in Atlanta, the All Stars, and our book coach, she was talking about oak trees, right? The semblance of oak trees. And as soon as I got back, I put Morris Day oak tree.
Right.
Playing oak tree, Morris Day. Like because I was really feeling the significance of an oak tree. They
Right.
don't waver under the storm. And she loves
Girl.
oak trees. And one of our author all stars in the book, she was honored as the oak tree, overcoming any major adversity.
Right. Right.
And I played that record. I was like, I'm not gonna hit oak tree the song the same ever again from going to that conference. So
Right.
it takes you. That's why I tell people, as cliche as it sounds, there's always a song for everything.
It is.
There's
I'm
always
with you. I
literally a
love
song
music
for
too.
everything.
I love music too. So I feel like there's always a song for anything that you're going through, any mood that you have.
Mhm.
It could be a rap song, it could be a jazz song, it could be a
Mhm.
classical song. Because I love every kind of music that
I
there is.
love all genres.
Yes.
And that's one thing I could appreciate my mother, my grandmother, my grandparents, my uncles. My
Right.
uncle Robbie, God bless his soul, and my uncle Rodney were jazz lovers.
Right. Right.
Jazz lovers. So I was playing a couple of records in jazz. They was like, how you know? I said, don't sleep. Just because I don't play, I can go back to the
I can
archives.
go back. Thank you. Thank
And
you.
but the music began as, cliche as it sound, parents cleaning on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon.
Right.
And my introduction was Marvin Gaye. He had a greatest hits
Mhm.
album. My mother would play it religiously every Saturday until the CD broke, pretty much. And I heard his voice, and I always say, like, that is my husband in another life because he's just so eloquent. Like,
Right.
and then he could sing, and then he could write, then he could produce. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's
And
my
then,
husband.
yeah, I said, that's my husband in another life, I swear.
Right.
And
Right.
then my grandmother and my grandfather, they love OJs, Teddy
Right.
P,
Yeah. That's
the Gap
me. Teddy
Band. My
P, Gap
grandfather was a
Band.
big Gap Band fan. He was, because he's originally from Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
And then my paternal grandfather is blues all day. So it was like Muddy Waters, Chuck Berry, because he's from the rural side of South Carolina. So I
Right.
was getting that too. So it was just like a whole musical library. And then being a 90s baby, my grandfather was like, you see all that music you listening to? They sampling somebody
Right.
from the 70s, from the 80s. They sampling somebody.
sound like my dad. He say the same thing all the time. Like all they do is sample our
They
music.
sample. So once my grandfather said that, I really had a higher interest of listening to R&B classics.
Right.
And I started listening to the samples. And then when I was still living in New York, we had 98.7 Kiss FM. Isaac Hayes, rest in peace
That's
to
so
Isaac
crazy because
Hayes,
I remember that.
was the host. Isaac Hayes was the host. You had
Right.
You had Dee Banks and Doug Banks and Dee Dee McGuire, the
Right.
original WBLS.
Right.
And then you had Hal Jackson, Sunday Classics. They
Wow.
would play the
Okay.
Sunday Classics.
Okay.
So I
Right.
was just expanding my musical library to the point my mother, like, all these old records would come on. Come on, Don, you know who that is. Come on, girl, you know who that is. And then I say it, and they're like, how she know that? Like, what?
Right.
Mhm.
Right. That's amazing. I think that is. I think that makes you a well-rounded person, though. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? To be able to listen to all genres of music, but to know what it is and how music makes you feel, and to say like, "Oh, I
Mhm.
want to be a musical commentator." You know what I'm saying? Because you don't hear people saying that anymore. Even if some people probably don't even know what that is or what that
Mhm.
job entails. You understand what
Mhm.
I'm saying? But you have to really have a love for music,
Yes.
passion for music to be able to do that. So that is beautiful. To go from journalism to that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's different. But the fact that you love music, I'm one
Yeah,
person.
I love music, and a lot of the people that I've interviewed over the years are musicians. So I've interviewed over 100 people in popular culture. So that's
Right.
from musicians, that's from athletes, that's from government figures. I remember when I was in college interviewing the original Tuskegee Airmen, the
Oh,
late Floyd William Carter,
right.
when the movie Red Tails was coming out, and that was huge for me. I was 21,
Right. Right. That's
covering
big.
and
That's big.
interviewing like
That's big.
the original Tuskegee Airmen. I was like,
Right.
it don't get no better than that. And then covering the Giants parade in college, I was like, who is doing these type of stories in
Not
college?
everybody. I don't think
Yeah.
people take the like they understand like who those people are. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because like, well, I'm an '80s baby, so being that I'm an '80s baby, that's not too far from where I was because like I'm
Mhm.
early '80s. So, but you know what I'm saying? So when you are like '90s baby, you don't find that they're into it much. But I have two sons. One of them 16, one of them 13. They listen to James Brown. You know what I'm saying? But
Thank
that's
you.
because they grew up with a parent that had this real love for
They were
music. So,
introduced to that.
right,
Like,
I'm gonna play anything and everything. And people like your son in the shower listening to James Brown, and he know
yep, I
every
sure
word.
was. I play it. Like, I play anyway from that for the timing. Like I said, the
Right,
time. Just I
right,
remember just being introduced to Michael Jackson because of the History album.
right.
That was my introduction to Michael Jackson. That and Off the Wall.
Wow.
And all
And
the
that's
other albums came in between, but it
came in
was
between it.
the History album and Off the Wall,
Right. That gave you that introduction.
to Michael Jackson.
I know Michael is like, well, see, I like Prince. I love Prince. I love
I
Michael,
love
but
me some
I'm
Prince.
in love
I
with
love
Prince.
Prince too. Like,
I was like
it's
boo-hooing
so
when Prince
hard.
died. I was like, Prince died. What I was he was
I was
me.
at work when Prince died. I was like,
I was like, oh
no. I was like,
no.
because I thought it was a hoax. Because some people are just evil
You
like
know,
that.
people be doing mean stuff like that all the time, like
Exactly.
sucking
And
his
then to
side up.
find out that it was true, I was like,
I was crushed.
no.
I was crushed. I was like, I
I
still
was
like think
devastated. I
like,
was like,
man, what if
that is
Prince
the
was
only
here? He was
man in my
probably
life that I know that could wear purple and is
right.
sexy. Like, could wear purple and is sexy. Like, no
Right.
other man can do that. I was
No other
like,
man can wear his shirt halfway open
thank you.
and slide across the floor
Yep.
heels, basically. And you
Can
be
have
like,
his
"Ooh,
butt
look at
cheeks
you."
out in stage and
Have his butt cheeks out and like get away with it. No other man could do that. So definitely, definitely. But don't get me wrong, I love Michael. Michael will always
I
be
love Michael too. Like,
to me.
I love Michael. Like,
Yeah.
I was when we found out that Michael Jackson passed away. My brother was graduating from high school, and we
Wow.
was coming to get something to eat. I think we was going to a restaurant or finishing eating, and my pops, he played the radio, and we were like, Michael Jackson dead. Like, wait, what? Michael Jackson is dead. MJ is dead. Like, what? What?
That was a sad day too.
That was a sad day. That was a very, very, very. I
I mean,
think
like just growing up off of Michael, being scared of. I'm still scared of Thriller. I'm not watching that video.
my cousin Jacob, he was scared of Thriller. Like,
I'm
because
still scared of
I used
Thriller.
to be mean to him with that. I'll cut the lights off in the basement and we play
No,
Thriller. He was like, you know, I'm scared of this video.
I'm still scared of it. I have not watched that thing all the way through ever in my life. Soon as Michael turned, I don't want to watch it no more. No, I want to see Michael just like he was. Turn back, Mike. Turn back.
No,
You know,
I
like
think
having a Michael Jackson glove, doll. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Just growing up, just off of like the Jackson Fives. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
that's how I learned about too from Hal Jackson. But
right.
my favorite Michael Jackson video is always gonna be Scream. Him and Janet.
Yeah.
They killed that. And that was his most expensive video. I think they spent like $7 million
Yeah,
to
they
do
spent a
that
lot of
video.
money.
And that
He
was a
spent a
lot of
lot of
money
money
back
on his
then.
videos, period. Michael
That was a
put
lot of money back then.
time
$7
and
million.
energy into his videos. I always tell people like music is different because when I was growing up, you would have songs that were like 10 minutes long. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And I said now it's like a hot 2 minutes, and I'm thinking like, what happened to the rest of the song? That's
You
it.
get an excerpt and they like, oh, that's
I'm
it. You
like,
get
what happened?
and then that's it. You like, what in the world?
I missed something because I was waiting for,
Mhm.
like when I'm listening to music, I'm listening for the story. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so I'm like, the
Yes.
story over, like that's what happened,
I
but
feel like you hear it. So like some of the rap today, I'm like, am I listening to words? I'm just listening to gibberish. Like,
I
what
don't
in the
know.
world is going on? Like, and it's funny, like, my introduction to rap was Biggie because when you from Brooklyn,
Oh, okay,
that was
okay.
my
So wait, I had
intro
to think, wait a minute, you're a 90s baby. So you said your introduction to rap was Biggie. So
with
I'm like,
Brooklyn.
okay. I'm like,
And
wait a
then
minute, I'm an 80s baby. Wait, that was my
but
introduction.
but there was 5 other rappers though
Right.
that I had to know because this is my mother's favorites.
Tell me who they
Eric
are. I'm
B
ready
and
to listen.
Rakim,
Okay.
EPMD,
Okay.
Meth,
Okay.
LL,
Of course.
and
Of course.
LL. I keep forgetting the other rapper. It's not Special A. It's another rapper. I said Meth, EPMD,
Uh-huh.
Eric B, especially Eric B and Rakim
Okay,
and
Eric B. and
LL. Like
Rakim, of
she
course.
really, and I don't know if it was. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I don't know if I don't
It's
want to
so
say.
many. Like it's
I don't
so
want to
many.
say. I don't want to say De La Soul. It's another like in that Tribe Called Quest.
Okay, I can dig
Tribe
that.
Called Quest.
You know what's so crazy is my older son, he listens to Tribe Called Quest now, and I never really like, I like their music, some of their music, but some of their music I don't know, maybe it's just
Mhm.
me. You know what I'm saying? So it could be just me, but my son loved them. He listened to them a lot, like a lot of
Mhm.
their old music.
Old music. Yep. But
My younger son,
especially him, LL, Eric B. Rakim, EPMD, Meth.
right.
She loves Method Man, especially now that he's fully transitioned as an actor. You just like, oh, Meth
Isn't
is
he amazing?
Meth.
Like people don't remember him like
Mm-hmm.
way back. You know what I'm saying? When he
Cash rules everything around me, Meth. Like
right. Right. People don't forget because he's so refined
he's
now.
so refined now. They gotta go back to the archives. Like, wait a minute, this is the same. Yeah, I'm like, this is the high Meth,
Right,
you know.
right.
But Biggie was the introduction to a lot, and he made you feel proud to be from Brooklyn. So as a kid, when he passed away, I really wanted to go to the funeral in Brooklyn. Like the whole, my mother's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're not going. No.
Right,
So what my cousin did and we prayed to God, like using the pics, like a picture of him, to
right.
bring him back for the last 6 months,
Wow.
to bring him back to her. Because me and my cousin, we really love Biggie. Until my
Right.
grandmother found out, she's like, no, that's not how it works. Like, don't be talking to the dead.
Y'all
Like,
was loving Biggie. Y'all was just trying to show him some love. Y'all
she had
was
to
like, we
laugh.
gonna
My
pray. He
mother,
gonna
she
come
had to
back.
laugh because it
Right,
was so innocent. But she was
right.
like,
It
no,
was.
that's not how it works. Like, no.
And see, you probably got a part of Biggie that the world didn't get because of where he's from. You know what I'm saying? So when he
Mhm.
was like underground, you probably got that part of him because people don't understand like artists, they be like out long time, years, like 10,
Yes.
15, 20 years before they really make it, You know what I'm saying? To where a lot of people know them and see them. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you're not from where they from, you probably never heard their music before. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Unless like I come there and I bring some down south music because I'm in Florida. So if I bring some down south music, like for instance, the rock wave, right?
Mm.
I went to Alabama, I went home, and I'm playing his music. They're like, we don't like that. We don't like that. Bring that up. Like everybody. I was like, y'all don't like this. I love this. I was like, this is a new artist. He finna come out. I was like, he gonna make it. He gonna make it. They're like, no, he ain't. He gonna make it. Now, every time I go home, oh, I got on Broadway. Y'all see, I went to, I said, I
Mm-hmm.
don't do that because y'all wasn't messing with my boy.
But that's what they
Y'all
did to
wasn't
Trick
messing with him.
Daddy when he first came out with that nan nan. Nothing like me.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because you know that's slang for Florida. So when he came out with that
Right.
mm,
Right. People wasn't feeling that. They
they
was
wasn't
like,
feeling it at first until they was like, oh, okay. So they had to really listen
they had to listen to
to
what was
Trick.
going
But
on.
that's like,
Exactly.
oh, I remember the other rappers now. It wasn't Tribe Called Quest. It was Outkast.
Oh,
My
oh,
mother
I
loved
should
some
have known.
Outkast. It was Outkast. My
I
mother
should have known.
loved some Outkast.
In love with Outkast. I thought LL was my husband. Every time he
I
looked
think
at
LL was everybody's husband and y'all like 80. Like I
yeah,
know my mother was a teenager in the 80s, so
right.
I could see why she loved LL because he was kind of like
Girl,
y'all. He was the Elvis of hip hop, like
he was. He
yeah, for
was.
y'all. So
He
I
was.
get it. I get it.
He
I get it.
definitely was. That, like I think that's awesome. I see that you have this real passion and love for music, and I can respect that because I do too. You know what I'm saying? Writing the same thing. I love to write. I love to journal. All of those things. But I'm really proud of you for just
Thank you.
being 33 years old and achieving those goals. That's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of women that are 33 are doing other things. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And not to be judgmental, but I think it's so much power in knowledge and expansion. You feel
I
what
think
I'm saying?
it for me is a combination of upbringing and then making the conscious decision that you want to be better. Like I come from a lot of strong women, so you couldn't be weak around them. And that wasn't weak to cry. It was weak like you can't wallow, you can't expect somebody to feel sorry for you. Like especially my grandmother, Bayesian American, 5'2" from Harlem.
Right.
She'll let you know she was from Harlem in a
She ain't
heartbeat.
playing. You said Harlem. That was it. She done.
She let
She
you
not
know, like
playing.
yeah, like you knew what time it was with Eloise Estelle. Like she'll let you know she's from Harlem. And then
Right.
my paternal grandmother was the same way, like Lydia Lorraine
Right.
from New York, same thing. And then my mother, like, because of my grandmother, it was poured in to my mother. And then my Uncle Robbie being like a somewhat brother and father figure to my mother at times, all in one,
Right.
poured in certain elements to her, which
Right.
she poured into her children. But I remember my mother having a very heart to heart conversation with me in high school.
Right.
And she was like, this is the time of your life that's going to make or break the rest of your life. So you need to think about what you are doing in these halls. And I
Right.
went to one of the best high schools in Brooklyn. But I
Right.
remember her having this conversation. This is the start of the rest of your life. What you do in that school will determine the rest of your life.
I love that. I love that. I love that you said a few significant things that kind of like it's kind of like unheard of now. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? You said a few significant things, especially like like your grandmother and your maternal and paternal grandmother being strong women, them teaching you how to be a strong woman, your mother telling you like this is what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you either get it or you don't get
No,
it. You know what I'm saying? These your options, yes or no. There's no in
it was
between.
no yes, no if, no ands, no but I
Right,
was that type of student that always wanted to do well.
right,
But my mother understood being a teenager, you're gonna have
right,
temptations. It's gonna be a
right,
lot of things. Because even though I
right.
was sheltered as a kid, I was still very schooled because my mother came from the concept like I'd rather tell you before somebody else in the street tell you and they don't know what they're talking about.
This is
And
what I'm
then my
talking about.
grandparents were the reinforcement.
Right,
So when we had that conversation at 14, I was like, okay, this is not a game. Like we gotta wait.
I gotta
We gotta make the best of these high school years. And I tell people all
in
the
the
time,
field. Right.
those are the high school years that went too fast because I did a lot in high school and I loved high school.
That's and I expressed that to my children is to like I told them high school was the best years of my life. Not saying like adult, I had fun in adulthood, but once you get to adult, you want to test some waters that you shouldn't test. You know what
You
I'm
want to start doing, and I had fun in college too. Don't get me
Right.
wrong, I had some fun in college,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
high
yeah.
school was the start of that.
It was the start of the fun. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I was telling. It's funny you said you was 14 when you had that conversation. My baby son will be, he'll be 13 next. He'll be 13 Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So last week we had a car conversation. I'm basically telling him what your mom told him. Like, hey, listen, you about to be a teenager. Like this finna make you or break you. You got to do what you need to do. You got to, like I was just giving him like little points of you're not a baby no more. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? 12 is over with. It's over with. Mama waking you up, and
Mm-hmm.
all those little things that mom
Mm-hmm.
did. I've been preparing him this whole time. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like, hey, do
Mm-hmm.
this, do that. Just to prepare him.
Yep.
And I always tell my kids, like you have to. They say no. My oldest son always says, I love having old parents. I always like, what you mean old people? What's he talking about? What's he trying to say? But he's 16. And of course, I had him when I was 20, 25, 26. You know what I'm saying? So, and then my baby son, I had him when I was 30.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, you do got old parents. So I have an old school way of thinking and of teaching them so that, this gonna make or break you. You in high
Yep.
school now, 10th grade, you only got 2 years. So what you gonna do,
That's what I
homeboy?
said. Like my mother was not playing. Like she was just, she wanted me to enjoy it, but I
Yeah,
remember having that conversation. We had that conversation, because I started high school. I remember the date. It was September 13th, 2004. So it was the week before I turned 14. So we had the conversation 2 weeks before because it was the end of the summer and we started
right,
getting prepared. You start going to bed early, all that good stuff. So your body
right,
could register that. And then I had to get up at 5 to leave the house by 6 to get to school
right,
by 8.
right, right.
Versus in junior high, I had a parent picking me up, dropping me off. That's a different transition. Like I gotta get on a bus.
It's an awakening.
Hey, baby, like what you wait, like
What we
so
doing?
yeah, so we had to have that conversation. And then
Right,
I met one of my good buddies. We still cool to this day. He was like my bus buddy for a while. But
right,
I remember having that conversation. You can't be staying up late because you gotta get up at 5 to leave at 6.
right.
But it was my grandfather told me to go to the high school I went to. He was like, Nikki Nag, you too smart to go to this zone school. Like, no. And then he said, Edward R. Murrow. I trusted his judgment and how
Right.
look how God worked. It wasn't the original choice. It wasn't the first choice. It was my second. But it was the school that called me first. I was like, okay, God, you really must want me to go to this
Where you
school.
want me to go? Right.
And it turned out to be the best decision that I ever made. And
See,
my mother was like, I have never seen a high school student so diligent and so full of life, and watching my own child enjoyed high school. It was just like, wow.
that's what it's
Yeah.
about. I mean, you can enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? I love
Mhm.
something else you said was you made a conscious choice. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? And I think that's important, even like going on with you being a great writer, you know what I'm saying, is because you are conscious of the things that the choices that you make. I
Mhm.
think that is very powerful. I'm just proud of you because like at 33, I know 33-year-old women that could do exactly what you did, write 6 books, be in journals, co-author, be like that's a big section that and I mean I want you to be proud of you because I'm proud of you. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
That is
I
a
really
huge
I
thing
really appreciate,
for
like I
right.
had to go back to the milestones that I did even in college, like,
Go back.
graduating from, college, the first, really grandchild on both
Right,
sides of my family to graduate from college, the
right,
first African American to receive a Wall of Fame,
right,
get your master's degree before you 25. Like it was just a
right,
lot of firsts in my family. And I remember my uncle was saying, when my grandfather passed away in 2021, he was telling his daughter, she's like, I call her 20 because when she was younger, she really looked like me. So
Right.
he's like, Dom set the bar for y'all to do what, because she set the bar.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
then I was,
It's the
and I was the
burden of being
first,
a mother.
I was the first girl on my dad's side of the family. I'm the oldest granddaughter.
Right.
And then on my mom's side, I'm the fourth youngest out of 23 grandchildren.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So to set those milestones for your other cousins or your other relatives to do the things that they can do because they watched you. And I
Exactly.
said, I'm appreciative and I'm grateful for that. But you got to understand, along with success came battles, new
100%.
levels, new devils. I tell people I didn't do it by myself. Like whether it was financial support, emotional support,
Right.
resources, I just took advantage. I had to change my priorities to match my opportunities. That's all I did. That's all I did.
That's it. That's it. And that's what it's about. I wish
Mhm.
that we could coin that statement for you, some change your priorities. Because if people realize, like, just change your priorities, then
Mhm.
everything will work the way that you work. You know what I'm saying? I
And
love the fact.
you gotta keep God first. God has to be
Right,
the nucleus in your life. Like
right.
I tell people all the time, I'm just the product. God is the manufacturer and the
Exactly.
Bible is the manual. Like I can't,
It's nothing you could do.
there's nothing I could do.
It's nothing you
I
could
don't
do.
know. Like I tell when I massage clients, I'm like, I don't know how they be coming out. Oh my God, I feel such amazing. And I'm like, I don't know how to half step. As your practitioner, I just don't know how to half step. Even on a bad day, I just don't know how to half step. I just
Exactly.
don't know how.
Exactly. And if they feel amazing, that's because of the good energy inside of you.
Mhm.
Because you giving them that your energy every time you rubbing on them, and you know what I'm saying, you doing your massage thing, and so that's amazing. I am super duper proud of you. I thank you for coming on the show. Definitely making me laugh and talking about music. I told you this was
Mhm.
music. I'm such a free hearted person, so I knew it wasn't gonna be nothing that make you nervous.
No,
So
not at all. And I love podcasts like that. It's not scripted. Everything is unscripted because you can have one agenda for your podcast, and then it could take you to another agenda. So when it flows that way, that's the best
let
way.
it go. Let it go. Like it
Mhm.
gives you the opportunity to just let whatever happens happens. That's why I tell people when they come on the show, just be you. Don't be coming over
Mhm.
here trying to, like abstain from this. Just be you because
Try
I
to be so prim and proper, and you just
yeah,
reading
I told
plastic smile.
you exactly. I'm like, my mom put me in etiquette school, modeling school. So I'm like this because I was taught to be this way. But I want to be like everybody else. I just want to chill.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like they don't. Back in the day, when I was young, if you could afford to, you would go to like modeling school, and so modeling school would teach you like etiquette, like how to set a table, how to walk, how to
Mhm.
talk, how
Mhm.
to curtsy. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? How to have these different mannerisms, and
Should
as
basically be dainty.
yes, to be dainty like a girl, even though I was
Mhm.
still a tomboy in some kind of
Mhm.
ways.
I get it. I was a tomboy as well. I was a tomboy, but still feminine. I think I was really a tomboy because I had a lot of male cousins. Like the female cousins, the very few I had was close in age, but majority of the females, they were teenagers. They was trying to get, high school and boyfriends, and there was nothing really to talk about except the music. Because the
Right,
music they were playing, I was
right.
like, okay, that's how I got introduced
That's
to
how you
Usher.
got introduced to it.
I got introduced to Usher because my cousin Nicole
Ooh.
was the same age as Usher. And
Wow.
one day he was on Soul Train because my other cousin, some cousins didn't have cable. So they
Right.
will watch Soul Train. And when I watched him, I was like, oh, okay, he nice. I was like, I like that. And he good looking, and he could dance, and he could sing. I
Right.
was like, who is this Usher guy? Because that's all I wanted to play. And because of me liking Usher, my mother, loves Usher. But that was my cousin Nicole because she was the same age as
Right.
Usher. And
Right.
watching her and playing the music, and that's how my other cousin got into Drew Hill, because all his siblings at point, they were teenagers playing.
Right.
That's how we all got into the hip hop too, because my cousin Isaac will keep a rack of CDs in a drawer. So that's how we
Right.
would sneak off and listen to
Sneak off.
Jay-Z and Nas and DMX and
Right.
everybody in between that little kids should not be listening to. But we just love the
True.
beats and just the lyrics that what they were
What
saying.
the music did to you, right? Because it was
Mhm.
saying, it was telling the story.
It
Like
was
I always
telling a
tell
story. That's what
people,
it was, and we may not understand it by right away, but it was the beats and the stories, especially like I said, it goes back to Biggie. Like Biggie is a vivid storyteller. He was like, I listen to the lyrics now, and I'm
right.
like, this man has so much adjectives in his lyrics. You're like cluckering.
When they try to make us seem uneducated and smart, always listen to some older music and you will hear
Yep.
stuff and be like, "What? Hold on, what did you
Yep.
have to write the word down? Like, what does that mean?" And when you
Even
figure it
even
out, you're
even
just like,
you can
"Wait a
even
minute."
go back to Angie Stone when she
Oh,
was in the sequence.
definitely. I think
Angie Stone.
the first hip hop artist that they realized, like, wait a minute, he was intelligent. I want to say it's E40, but I feel like it's somebody else before E40 that came
Mhm.
along. But when everybody started hearing E40 wordplay, they was like, ooh, 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 he using big
Mhm.
words. But I was like, wait a minute, y'all. Like, it was people using big words before all of this. Y'all just wasn't listening to the lyrics.
Exactly. Even how they break syllables down. Like, even though Eminem has maybe if ninth, 10th grade education,
Right,
that man could break syllables for days. Like he
right.
could find words that you didn't think worms rhyme with. I was like, what rapper rhymes has a word that rhymes with orange other than range? Like, but the way he breaks down syllables is ridiculous.
They don't understand. It's
It's
like
ridiculous.
they don't understand.
Hmm.
Well, definitely, this is our time, love. Can you give everybody a social media handle so they can go and follow you
Sure.
and see what you got going on?
All right. So I'm gonna give y'all my link tree, linktree.com/dom0922. When you click on there, you can see all my social media information. And I know this lovely young lady is gonna give all my social media handles as well.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then you can see all my books, me being featured in articles. You can purchase my new book, The Whole Entrepreneur, there as well. And stay tuned for 2024. This is a year of abundance. I don't want to give away too much, but it's going to be an amazing year.
I believe it. I've been telling people, I was like, I don't know why. I feel something different about 2024. It's going to be a
Hmm.
different year. So,
Yeah.
usually on the show, I have people like leave everybody with something positive or something that, you know what I'm saying? Just something that's going to carry people on through the week, something that they're going to remember.
Okay.
So, this is your time.
Well, I like to say my favorite quote, and I even still apply it to me when I'm going through things. An inspirational vision is not a pipe dream. Give it a chance to mature and reveal its true potential.
Wow. I love that. That is like, oh, that really touched my heart. I really, really, I'm on live. I can really, I knew that was going to happen. That's why I instantly started looking that way. But I'm sorry. But I really love the inspiration in people. People don't think that you see it in them, and I think sometimes it makes me a little sad that people don't bring it out of them. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So what you said, it touched me in a way to where I know it would bring something different out of people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So I want you to say it one more time, and then
okay.
just go because I don't want nobody to miss
All
that.
right. So it's an inspirational vision, is not a pipe dream. Give it a chance to mature and reveal its true potential.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all heard what the lady said. So I'm gonna go on that note. As usual, I love y'all. I appreciate everybody who tunes in, who supports, who's always saying like, "Where my live at? Why you ain't on live?" I appreciate y'all. We're gonna have Miss Dominique come back in 2024 because we want to hear what she had up next that she don't want to tell us about right now because we want to know. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I respect y'all. And I always forget to say it, and they always get on me. Like, share, subscribe, of course. If you want to be on the podcast, just inbox me. I'll send you the calendar, or just book on the calendar. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all and good night.